I, 28, am getting married today to my fiancé, 30 Mawan. It's the legal document signing and our ceremony is on Saturday. I haven't slept in 24 hours. I just am feeling so much anxiety. For reference, we were together, living together for about 3 years, before becoming long distance for 1.5 years. I'm back in the country for a week to visit him and family and to have our wedding. For the last month, he has been ghosting me for sometimes even weeks at a time. I know it's because he's going through a mental health crisis, but no matter how much I tell him, his actions are causing me pain and straining our communication. He can't change. When he goes through rough times, he absolutely shuts down for everyone, especially me. It hurts so much every time knowing that even the person he says is his best friend and future wife, he doesn't trust or respect enough to share or ease his pain. I thought coming back to the country and the marriage would wake him up from his ghosting tendencies this past month, but it's not. He had a very important meeting at work yesterday that either meant he'd get a raise or be unemployed, and now I don't hear anything from him at all. He's ignoring my calls, he's ignoring my texts, and there are red receipts, so I know it's intentionally ignored. It's the morning of, and we are literally set to sign our marriage paperwork in a few hours from now. But I was up all night because I can't shake the anxiety that this isn't what he wants, that he's just doing this to appease me despite this being a joint decision. I still can't even get a hold or reach him. I try so hard to communicate everything with him, but this hurts me deeply, down to my core. Part of me wants to drive over to his apartment and beat his door down and just demand answers as to how he could treat someone he claims he loves this way. But I know he'd just shut down further, say he's sorry, and then bury himself deeper into his guilt and depression. How can I be supportive through his mental health crisis, while also keeping firm on the "this is 500,000% some disrespectful and harmful behavior that is absolutely unacceptable, in my opinion"? When we were about to be long distance, he begged me to try it out, because I knew his inability to properly communicate his feelings would be miserable over long distance. But he begged me and promised he would change. I would say he did improve, but if this last month has shown me anything, it's that I'm about to marry someone who has no qualms and sees no consequence in ghosting your spouse for weeks at a time. This whole thing gives me so much anxiety, I have no idea what to do. Any advice on how to calm my anxiety or maybe try to be more supportive to coax him out of the horrid way his depressive episode is manifesting would be greatly appreciated. Before I forget, yes, of course I've tried to get him to see a therapist or get on medication. For years, there is basically a 0% chance that, if it's coming from me or anyone in my family, he would ever listen to that advice. It's incredibly frustrating and not an option that I can even bring up with him anymore without the conversation devolving and him shutting me out even further. I will not be tolerating or responding to any accusations of him cheating or people just saying don't marry him. He is loyal but has a multitude of mental health issues, and I will marry him regardless of what anyone says on the internet. I just want some advice is all. Edit. I won't be reading anything anymore, and please stop messaging me. If you see a woman who is genuinely struggling with something and clearly has no one else to turn to for advice other than random people on the internet, and your response is to ridicule her and call her an idiot, then congratulations. My last idea of seeking help has failed. Clearly I had no one else to go to, it's my wedding day, and I'm on Reddit. I don't know why I expected anything less than hate messages and ridicule. Maybe there isn't some magic way to help him through this period of grief, but I didn't think I deserved to be sent all these cruel messages so instantly. To the people messaging me and calling stupid, idiotic doormat and that I deserve whatever unhappy life awaits me, you've won. Update 1. My life was great. My relationship was great. Until yesterday, it suddenly wasn't. The last month felt a bit off, but I didn't think it would lead to this. I still love him intensely. He still loves me intensely. He wants to stay with me. It's just that he says he can't do marriage because he can't untie the trauma he has from the idea of it from his childhood. Cult stuff. My mom says I'll be a pathetic fucking loser if I still stay with him regardless, and that he'll never be a part of the family. But I want to stay with him regardless. But I don't know if I can live with the constant fear, anxiety, and insecurities that will come from being with someone who can just leave whenever he feels like it. My wedding is on Saturday and my family still wants to have it since it's more of a small family gathering already anyways, since his family wasn't invited due to cult stuff. My life as I know it feels completely over. I don't know what to do. The person I turned to for empathy and compassion turned to me screaming that I'm a fucking idiot. I'm only in the country for my wedding. I live abroad. My new job and my fiancé pressured me, and reassured me I should already use my new married name professionally. I'm a teacher, and all my kids already know me as his name. Everything sucks and I can't stop sobbing. Edit. To clarify, he left me while we were about to sign the marriage certificate. It's a symbolic left at the altar since there was never going to be an actual altar anyway. Update. I told my mom that the way she phrased her advice/opinion was cruel. She told me she's tired of my drama and doesn't need it in her old age. I already had told her she was right, and I knew what she said was right, but just that the way she said it was cruel. She said she no longer cares about maintaining a relationship with me, and that it isn't worth the drama at her age. I apologized, because she's right. I'm a piece of shit who never saw that this situation hurt and humiliated her too. I wanted to just have this be a nice party with friends and just spend time together. I'm going to try my best to keep my negativity inside, so it doesn't spoil the mood, and maybe there's a hope to salvage it as a good party. But I think once I return abroad, that this will be the last time my mom will ever speak to me again. I don't know how I could repay her for all she spent on this wedding, but hopefully removing myself from her life will maybe make her life more peaceful and less stressful, even if it destroys me. As for him, thank you all so much for your kindness, advice, and perspectives. It truly makes me feel better to read the comments, even if they hurt, and I deserve it. We will be talking about it tomorrow in person, and I've scheduled an emergency therapy appointment for myself for tomorrow morning. I've never done therapy before, and I'm scared, but I know it's what I need. I'm so angry at him for ruining my entire life that I don't know if the love I have can salvage this. Update 2. For a brief recap, I was going to the officiant to sign my marriage license with my fiancé, who I'd been with for 4 years. He chickened out and said he couldn't marry me and ruptured my image of us. TLDR at bottom. Onto the update. Since I was so brutally humiliated, it really made me think back on all the not great parts of us. He was always very gaslighty whenever I'd claim his actions reflected the opposite of his words. I respect you, I care for you. So I ended up talking to him. I asked him to define what his definition of loving someone, respecting someone, caring for someone, and trusting someone means. Needless to say, they were twisted and not healthy at all. I tried to make him see that, and he had a few moments of holy shit. I think you're right. I don't actually trust or respect you. Now, just because he admitted it, didn't mean the crazy, selfish actions didn't continue throughout the entirety of the conversation. It was so crazy how I'd never been able to articulate it in a way to where he actually understood before. He actually had the gall to say, wow, we should have had this conversation a long time ago because of how much he was realizing he was treating me like trash, then gaslighting me about it. I was like, bitch, I've been trying to tell you this for years, but you never respected me enough to listen, and I was always too emotional to articulate it properly. Anyways, he wanted to do marriage counseling with the intent to marry at the end. I told him I'd rather break up because the power dynamic is too shifted, and I don't feel like it's salvageable. With how he was listening to me, and finally acknowledging and understanding me and his own actions, I was hopeful for maybe a friendship one day in the distant future. But after a teary, bittersweet goodbye, he absolutely ruined it with yet another selfish action right at the last moment. I didn't want to be touched or do physical affection for multiple reasons. One of the main reasons being, he uses it for comfort when he's feeling sorry for himself. I had just spent 3 hours explaining how he never thinks of me in any of his actions, and maybe it's cruel of me to keep that last kiss or whatever, but it felt selfish and manipulative to me. So after an actually heartfelt goodbye and promise to be better people in the future, we part ways, only for him to run back to me to try and do some romantic swoop in and kiss me. I recoiled really fast and honestly just stared at him incredulously, like he had just ignored everything I had just said. That was the moment I went from sadness and grief, from losing something so important to me, to just numb and angry about it. I haven't cried since. I don't even feel sad when I think about him because all I can think about is how angry the whole thing makes me feel. I'm 28 and feel like I wasted my good years on someone who had zero regard for me in any capacity. I developed so many new insecurities, confidence issues, and trauma from 4 years with him, and now I have to navigate the dating pool again with all of that, in a foreign country no less.